Jackie Swan for shooting progress, code recovery. Range assist to one gunshot, no other info.
That is 1822. 1822.
341. You can slow everyone else down, but have you step it up. It's a 15-year-old with a gunshot wound to the head.
Okay, everyone can assume now can slow down code 1. Slow down code 1. 341, can you confirm it was self-inflicted?
Last name Hightower, Highghtower, first name Eric, rank Captain, and I'm ready when...
What do we got here, Captain?
So, what we have this evening is a very unfortunate, tragic situation. We had two juveniles, 15-year-olds, that were here. One of them was a friend, the other one was a resident. The friend was over at his buddy's house, and they were playing with a firearm. They believed, as best we can determine, they believed the firearm was unloaded, and unfortunately one of them ended up shooting themselves with the firearm, not realizing that there was still a round in the chamber of that gun.
Do we know the severity of that person's injuries?
The 15-year-old was a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. He was rushed to SAMMC in critical condition, and that's where he is at the moment, is in critical life-threatening condition.
Do we know how they got a hold of this gun?
It's the resident's firearm. The parents of this home have some firearms that they keep in their home for self-defense and just their rights to bear arm. Apparently the 15-year-old resident knew where those firearms were and was trying to either impress his friend or wanted to show off, went and got those firearms, and they were playing with them. And again, as best we can tell, we believe that they assumed, they thought the firearm was unloaded. It wasn't. It was not a suicide attempt. It was not intentional. It was not some type of homicide or anything like that. It was truly an accident, as best we can tell at this point.
What type of gun was it? A firearm? Was it?
The firearm was an AR-15 rifle, and just your standard, nothing particularly fancy about it. Just your standard AR-15 rifle.
You said it was one gunshot wound to the head.
Correct.
As far as the kid knowing where this weapon was there a lock combination? Was this in a safe?
I don't have that information for you. I'm not sure.
And the parents, were they home at the time?
The parents of the resident, yes, they were home at the time.
Who called this in, Captain?
The parents called it in. They heard the gunshot go off, and they immediately called for police and EMS. And when they arrived, they immediately started life-treating medical intervention, and then he was transported, like I said, to SAMMC for his injuries.
At this time, do you know if any charges could be pending to the parents?
At this point, it's too early to tell. Homicide will be investigating it, and at this point, there's a couple of charges that are possible in a scenario like this, making a firearm accessible to a child. What has to be determined ultimately in this case was the 15-year-old able to easily get access to that firearm? Was it reasonable for the parents to assume that the firearm was properly secured and locked? Because as you probably well know, people are allowed to have firearms in their home. The goal and objective is that the responsible adults keep them secured. They don't have to keep them unloaded, but they do have to keep them secured. They have to keep them either with a trigger lock, locked in a bedroom, well hidden, that type of situation. So what ultimately has to be determined in this case is, did the legal guardian take those proper precautions and if they didn't, then yes, there's that possibility of charges being filed. But I think it's too early to tell at the moment if that's going to be the case.
And 15-year-old again transferred to SAMMC in critical condition.
Yes.
And it was a 15-year-old that lived in this home right behind us.
No, it was.
I'm sorry,
the friend.
The friend.
Correct.
Excuse me.
It was a friend.
Gotcha.
Did the gun have that safety lock?
I don't know. I don't believe so, just based on the information I have at the moment. But I don't believe there was a trigger lock on the firearm.
Okay. And then you were saying that they were just playing with the gun, or they were actually playing a game with the gun?
My understanding is that they were simply playing with the firearm. That young boy's curiosity about a firearm, trying to figure out how it works and things of that nature. That's ultimately when the gun went off, is when they were playing with it. It wasn't like they were pretending to play war or something like that. They're actually playing with the firearm itself.
And the 15-year-old over here, I'm assuming you guys are still questioning the teenager that lived in this house?
Correct. Parents, everyone that was inside the home when the incident occurred, will be questioning, and they'll be giving statements. We'll be collecting evidence at the scene here for a while, and then after all that is finished, then a determination will be made whether or not those charges are ultimately filed.
And how many people were inside, Captain?
4 total.
4 total? Okay.
So 4 people in the house, but how many were kids?
2.
Two.
Right. The
Two
2
adults.
friends. Yeah, the 2 friends, both 15-year-olds.
Captain, I appreciate you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Anything
Captain.
else?